I'm holding in my hands two of the most beautiful books ever produced by human being. This is the Trust Riches, commissioned by Duke de Berry, and this is Bell's Suarez, commissioned by the same guy, Duke de Berry. Um, Both were produced by some of the greatest masters of Flemish painters, the Limburg brothers. Of the two books, Bell's Hours is supposed to be more beautiful. However, Tres Riches is more well known among the fans. In a sense, Tres Riches actually made illuminated manuscripts from Middle Ages famous among contemporary patrons. Um, Illuminated manuscripts are very famous in the sense that and they're also very expensive. The ones that I'm holding in my hand, not even facsimiles, they are copies of the copies, but it still gives you a certain sense of how beautiful they were. Manuscripts were very popular in Europe. Majority of the manuscripts were meant for religious books, Gospels, Bibles, books of hours primarily, because those were commissioned by wealthy people as a personal item. They were like a substitute for a jewelry. They were miniatures. You can hold them in your palm, or at least you can put it in a valise and keep it with you, along with you when you travel. And they are books of hours, personal, intimate items that you use on a daily basis for prayers, for meditation, for anything. And these were pre oil painting era. So most of them were made on vellum. Vellum is goat skin, processed goat skin, and were painted not with oil painting but with tempera. Tempera is egg basically. And the painting material was semi-precious stones, lapis lazuli, rubies, and other things. And a lot of gold was used. And the way the gold was used very fine is because the ways to do it is they used to paint something with glue and then stick a gold folio on it and then remove the remainder of the part, what is in doesn't stick. So that's how they used to have a golden background with all these paintings. And as I said, they were made of vellum, so they were very durable and they're very luxurious items to hold. If you hold them in your hand, you will realize how luxurious they feel. And they're personal items. And people, this is pre-television, pre-mobile phone, smartphone era. So this is the only form of entertainment people used to have. So dukes and princes and kings, they used to carry them with you, to look at it, to feel good about it, and that's kind of a entertainment and spiritualism put together. So illuminated manuscripts are very popular in Europe, and they are very valued. To just give you a brief example about how monetarily valuable they can be, one of a very famous manuscript was sold recently in 2014. It's called the Rothschild Spear books, owned by the famous Rothschild family from Austria and Germany. And it was sold in 2014 at Christie's at about $14 million. And that's how valuable it can get. And that's the ones that are on the public domain. The ones that are not in public domain, no one knows their true values, how much they can be. If you try to monetize it, how much can that be? I mean, a book like Trust Riches could easily sell for $100 million if it ever comes in public domain. It will never come by then. So that's how Europe values their manuscripts, and even there is a market for it. You can buy them, you can sell them, and it's kind of a investment option. Coming back to India, India has more manuscript than the entire world combined. In some estimate, India has about 10 million manuscripts. Why we have more manuscripts? Because in Europe, after the advent of printing in 1490, manuscripts were largely decommissioned. Not many people actually commissioned manuscripts after printing came in. Hand painting of printed books was still in practice for quite some time, but commissioning hand painted manuscripts on vellum was discontinued since 1530 mostly. But India continued for 300 more years, and we had produced more manuscripts than the rest of the world combined together. However, we do not pay enough attention to it. I mean, if you go to Bibliotheca de Paris, or if you go to British Library or Berlin Library, even in libraries in Amsterdam or America, you should see a enormous collection of manuscripts. But not so in our libraries. The funny part is we have them. Salarjung Museum has about 40,000 manuscripts, and they are invaluable. Okay, I have seen some of them, and they are so beautiful, and we have a variety of them. I mean, some of the stuffs are mind-boggling. Like in Salarjung Museum, I have seen Quran manufactured or rather produced in 840 in Nakasi script in Arabic. I have seen Firdaus, I have seen Jahangir and that's on the display. There is 40,000 manuscript that's off limit to public in a separate library. And other museums in India are equally endowed with beautiful manuscripts, but we are largely do not know about them, and public don't care about them, and that's not accessible to public. That is the sad part of it. A big part of our culture, and then I'm not just talking about the Islamic manuscripts, beautiful as they are, and extremely well crafted and commissioned. There are even more interesting manuscripts like the Jain manuscripts, the Tantric manuscripts, the Buddhist manuscripts. They are even more old. A lot of them are beautifully painted on palm leaves and plates of wood. Some of them are 1200, 1300 years old. You may have heard the Baksali manuscripts that are there in British Museum. Those were from 3rd, 4th century AD of mathematical manuscripts, right? So what I'm trying to say is that we do not have enough awareness about manuscripts, and we should, because our country possesses enormous quantity of it, and this is a very big part of our culture, as big as our monuments, as big as our temples or mosques or minarets. It's more important because it tells you more detail about the life then and how people lived back then, and their aspirations about the way of life, about about day-to-day activities. I mean, going back to European manuscript, there's a famous manuscript called Book of Kells that's produced in Ireland in about close to 600, 700 AD, and it gives you the very little detail about the lives back then in Ireland and in other parts in Europe through the paintings and the writing. We have similar manuscripts in India. We need to bring awareness. We need to build. Now that government is coming up, there is a very nice website called manuscripts.com. There you can see the manuscripts. Our manuscripts come in different forms. As I said, some of them are in palm leaves, some of them are on wood, some of them are on plates of copper. By the way, there's some amazing manuscripts out there in the Jain temples inside the Sonar Killa, the fort in Jaisalmer. I have seen some of them, but most of it is inaccessible to people. I think we should make a movement to make it accessible to people, build awareness among people that this is a very important part of our culture. If we lose it, we lose a large part of our culture, and we should not. From all from all culture and background and religion. We have an extremely rich set collection of manuscripts, as I said, about Ayurveda, Vedas, Jains, Buddhist, Islamic manuscripts, Purans, and not just and secular ones like Jahangirnama or Firdaus, or and some of them are exquisite. They're very beautiful. We need to be aware, and we need to preserve it, and we need to make sure that the government spend enough time and energy to preserve them. And government is not enough. We should have private collaboration, rich people coming in and protecting our heritage. So that's a brief introduction of manuscript. I hope you enjoyed. There is a wealth of information out there on the web and in the website and YouTube. Please go and browse it. Some of them I will probably try to give links in this video. Thank you so much. Bye.